Okay, so this takes place in the summer of 2005 when I was 17, and I met Saul during a summer break program, and we had fallen for each other pretty hard. So the program we did was this trail crew for high school students through the Student Conservation Association. So we were in Virginia for 5 weeks.
We both were dating other people at the time, and we didn't really know how we were going to deal with that, but we went into the rest of our lives with that kind of up in the air.
And in Saul's case, he had this girlfriend from high school, and this girlfriend was the type that she wasn't really into the outdoors, but because he did it, she applied too. And this bitch got Alaska. So anyway, our program ended, and it was like after 5 weeks, and we basically said, if this is something, then we'll see each other. I have 2 more weeks in the States before I go back to the Netherlands to finish high school, so I'll come up to visit you in New Hampshire. And he's like, okay, that works, because my girlfriend is in Alaska for those 2 weeks, because her program kind of overlapped differently, so she was going to be gone, so he'd deal with that later, right?
So she came and visited me, and we had gone hiking up in the White Mountains, a little ways away from where I lived, and I believe she was in the shower at the time, and I was upstairs on the 3rd floor hanging out, and I got a phone call. So I run over to my cell phone, look at it. Kayla is my ex-girlfriend. Just ignore immediately. A few minutes later, starts ringing again. Kayla, oh no. I ignore, and then I'm thinking, I'm just like, she's supposed to be in Alaska right now. She's supposed to be on her own SCA trip, work trip. So I don't know why she's calling me, what she's doing. And suddenly there's banging on the door. Just go downstairs, totally distraught. But, I go to answer the door, and she's right there at the door. And she comes in, and she immediately hugs me. And I'm just like, Kayla! Hey, nice to see you. What are you doing here?
So when I came out of the bathroom door, I could see straight down the stairs and see he was at the front door with talking to someone with a female voice. Because at first I was going to go find him and be like, hey. And then I was like, oh, does his parents back already from their anniversary dinner? I should just go get changed, in the spare bedroom.
She's like, oh, I got tired of Alaska. I wanted to come home. I was like, oh, cool. Because she wasn't supposed to be home for another week. I was not thinking that I would have to deal with this at the time at all. And she started to ask me, what are you doing? What are you doing? I'm sorry, Kayla. I can't do anything right now. I have to break up with you right now. And she just was devastated. It was one of the saddest things I've ever seen. And as I recall, the first thing she asked was just, why? Why are you doing this? I met someone else.
So I go to get changed, and when I'm done, I come out, and I try to find him, and he's up in the attic again, and I go up to the attic, and, he looks like he's seen a ghost. He's just sitting there with, this look on his face, completely staring off into the distance. And I was just like, hey, what's up? What's going on? Who was at the door earlier? And he's just sitting there I don't know. I was just sitting here, and my phone rang. And I looked, and it was Kayla. And then I heard a car door. I looked out the window, and it was her car.
She called me really drunk, and just, pissed off at me, yelling at me about, the whole situation, and I had to talk to her for an hour while Emily was upstairs, talking to my dad, I think, having this long conversation with my dad.
So Saul's down on the phone. I'm sitting there with his dad, who I've known for a couple days now. I'm just like, yeah, so Kayla's back. And his dad's like, oh. I'm like, yeah, she showed up, and Saul broke up with her, and so that's who's on the phone right now. He's like, oh, wow, that must put you in a really awkward position. And I was just like, no, really, really doesn't have to do with me. It's between them. He's like, no, Emily, it has to do with you. It totally 100% has to do with you.